Right now, from KTAB News, your local election headquarters, this is Big Country Politics.
Thanks for being here for Big Country Politics. I'm Victor Sotelo. We start our broadcast with the latest on COVID-19 and the effort to vaccinate the Big Country. KTAB's Travis Ruiz has more in this in-depth interview with the city of Abilene.
Thank you. And joining us now is Mari Cockrell with the city of Abilene. Mari, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So announced this last week, Abilene is now a vaccination hub, one of about 77 across the state. So what does that mean?
Well, it means that Abilene has been designated as a location or health district capable of getting large quantities of vaccine out in the most efficient manner. Basically, our health department has had to submit to the state a lot of information about, hey, here's the infrastructure we've set up, here's what we're capable of doing, and we can handle this load. So please do send us vaccine. We're ready to administer and get it out there as soon as possible. So it's definitely a point of pride for us here in the city. I know Mr. Hanna is very proud of the health district, and upon news of this here just this last weekend was really singing their praises and saying congrats to them for the work they've put in to make us a hub.
So being a hub, how many doses are we going to be getting?
Well, right now it looks like at least 1,200 a week. We're hopeful that will be increasing, and that's definitely a possibility for that. But right now we're working off of what we've been told at least 1,200 a week. And with that, the health district has to get those 1,200 doses out within 5 to 7 days. So I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see, the state looking and watching to see that, okay, Abilene's able to handle it. They're doing it. And, maybe from there they'll ramp up. I don't know if that's the case, but it would be great to see. And I know our health districts that they are capable of putting out those 1,200 vaccines, and they think even a day. Right now we've got our first clinic going on here Thursday, Friday of this week. And the plan with that is to get 600 out each day. And they're kind of purposely taking it a little slower just to make sure things are working. But I know the intention is to be able to do up to 1,200 a day if they needed to.
And Mari, this is not, we want to clarify that this is not just a walk-in type clinic. These are by appointment only, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So they're working off of, the health district is working off of its wait list. And to clarify there, because I know that was a clarification for me this week, that the health district has its wait list that you can find on our website, on the health district's website. That's not the same wait list as you may have gotten on your doctor's office or something. They're not crossing over. Everyone has their own wait list. So they're working off that wait list, and they've got, I believe, 12 individuals calling to schedule appointments for the vaccines off of that list. So you're going to get an appointment. And as you can imagine, that's to ensure social distancing practices and all that. And we don't want to have a crowd, but also to make sure that we're following that 1A, 1B category qualification there as well. But off of the wait list that you're finding on the health district's website.
So once again, you've got to go to the health district's website, and 1A and 1B. So 1B is over 65 years old and one of the comorbidities, if you will, on that list. And so you've got to fill it out and pay attention to your phone, because you're going to be getting a call if you've signed up for that list, right?
Yes. Annette Lerma, our health director, had explained that these 12 individuals who are doing the scheduling, they've been given city cell phones. And so they've got numbers on them popping up. And I know we have all tried to block and avoid all weird numbers on our phone, but wanted to remind folks that if you have put your name on the list, this is the time to go ahead and maybe do any unblocking, or just make sure you pick up every call, because it's going to come from a number that may look a little funny. And it's going to come from a number that the callers, the staff, they block their number just because they don't want individuals calling back as they call. So for this time period, I know it's a little bit of a hassle because we all get the spam calls, but be sure to pick up every call. And they're not going to leave a voicemail, because that could get really tricky as well. So they're just going to call. If you don't answer, don't worry, you're not being taken off the wait list. You will remain on the wait list, and they're going to call back and just another round. Maybe you might miss out this week. It might be next week that they come back around, but you will not be removed from the wait list if you don't answer or catch the call.
All right, very good. And How many people are on that wait list for 1B here in the city of Abilene?
Yeah, as of Wednesday, the 20th, I believe, here of January, Annette Lerner told us they had 12,000 individuals on that list. And so, yeah, it's a sizable list at this point. I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, we got a lot more to get done, right? But right now, 12,000 people on the list for the health district. And, who's to say maybe some of those folks have gotten a vaccine from their doctor in the meantime or something or rather. So that might kind of move a lot faster than you think. But if they're able to do 1,200 a week vaccines, if we stay at that amount given to us, the math puts us about 10 weeks to get through that list. But hopefully it will move faster either between more vaccines or whatnot coming our way.
And the city is obviously very heavily advocating to get more vaccine, right? But I know that there, are some changes at the federal level, obviously, this last week with a new administration. And so that kind of plays a factor as well, right?
Yes. Annette has told us that from her calls with the state that basically they're moving forward at status quo as we wait for, of course, now President Biden in office and just the new protocol that they move forward with or whatnot. It's all just a matter of, okay, we just need to wait and see. So everything is just status quo, moving forward as is until there might be some new direction from a new administration. We'll have to see what that looks like.
And with Abilene, going back a little bit, at Abilene being a hub, we are not, it doesn't matter what county you're from, right?
Right. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I know that was interesting for myself. I had, family members calling from other areas, curious about being able to get on our list. And so what happens is part of the qualifications for becoming a hub is that we cannot deny someone from another county or other area. We do just have to follow that 1A, 1B protocol. But yeah, you could come from another county. The one thing you need to remember is that where you get your first dose is where you're going to need to get that second follow-up dose. So if you drive out here to Taylor County for this first dose, just be prepared to come back for the second one. And you'll get that call and that appointment. But it's a matter of maybe you're back home and, I can get a vaccine here. Well, I ask that you do not do that. You need to come back and get the second dose here because your second dose is being sent here, basically. And so, there's not a county of residence qualification anymore. We can serve folks from other counties and other areas. I mean, really, we hope the end game is we want everyone vaccinated, no matter where you're from, really. So could there be people from other areas, maybe even outside of Texas coming to, yeah, that's a possibility. But our focus is just getting everyone vaccinated.
All right. So once again, we want to reiterate that this is by appointment only. And, the first couple of days were done over at the Expo Center round building, but moving forward, it will be at the convention center, right? Yeah.
So our team's going to set up there indefinitely and be there at the convention center. Another option too, another service right now, CityLink is providing free rides if you need that. I'll give you the number here right now. That CityLink. It's a 325-676-6287. And you're going to go with option 2 once you call. Basically, it's just our paratransit service. And just let them know that you're looking to get vaccinated and you have an appointment. But it will be moving over to the convention center and having that set up there indefinitely as we move forward. And just being able to offer enough space so that there's plenty of social distancing once you're in there.
All right, Mari Cockrell, the city of Abilene, and talking about the vaccination hub. Mari, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, and all that information is on our website at bigcountryhomepage.com. And still to come on Big Country Politics, we talk with Dr. Paul Fabrizio with McMurray University about everything that happened in Washington last week. We're back in 2 minutes.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
All right, welcome back. We have Dr. Paul Fabrizio with McMurray University, political science professor over at the university. Thank you for being on the show once again.
It's good to be here.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. And something we were talking about during the commercial break was everything, every little step of the inauguration and beyond that, even before that, has been amplified. I mean, everybody was paying attention to every little step of what was going on. There's a reason for that, you said.
There's a reason for that. First of all, there's a lot of things that happen every inauguration. We just don't pay attention to things. But we're in such a partisan thing, and so many people have so many hopes and fears invested in our presidential candidates, our president, our former president, that it all just plays out like this. So we are paying attention more to what was already there.
Well, what was already there, and everybody's paying attention to it because of the division. And maybe a lot of people were paying attention to see, okay, I wonder if anything's going to happen because of that divisiveness, right?
Yeah, and see, that's the unfortunate thing. Mm-hmm. Because of what took place on January 6th, mm-hmm. because of all the tension that had been building up to this, there is, I think, a fear that bad things could happen. I mean, look at this inauguration ceremony itself. There was 1,000 people there, invited guests, and that was it. Then 25,000 National Guard troops. What does that tell you? It was a ceremony that was designed, in essence, because of security. The things that took place, how they took place, were there with security in mind. And so our fear also, I think, played out in how the whole thing took place. And I think the U.S. government was very, very fearful too. I think Department of Homeland Security, the Secret Service, very, very scared of what could go wrong. So we had the ceremony we had yesterday.
And we got really some, that I noticed from the last inaugurations and the ones before this, we got some things that we were never really able to see. Like, for instance, we talked about this, the motorcade going to Arlington National Cemetery. Of course, there's those regular shots of the big motorcade, but we also got the shot from inside the motorcade. From you could, they went to those shots every once in a while.
Yeah, the press vehicle, which was following right behind the three presidential vehicles, there was the press vehicle there, and it had a camera, and so we could see it. And first of all, we need to remember that on Inauguration Day, a president doesn't go to Arlington National Cemetery. Joe Biden wanted to do that as a sign of unity with previous presidents. But that's something that we normally don't see. And so I think that there are things, because of what took place, because there wasn't the crowd that was there, TV, and I realize this is your profession, TV had to fill up the time. Mm-hmm. So they're showing things that normally you don't see. I think that video is always there. It just...
Nobody ever...
I mean, maybe if you're a dedicated viewer of C-SPAN, you might have seen some of that, but that's it.
So interesting. So I want to talk about this divisiveness because it's very apparent. I mean, it was before, but now it just seems like the line is drawn. To me, I don't know why. If you're looking on Facebook, there are those people who are saying, okay, not my president.
Yeah.
Just
like there was people 4 years ago who said that about President Trump. And 8 years before about President Obama. And go back to 2000, 2001, there were people who said that about George W. Bush and saying President Bush is not my president. So this is an ongoing theme, a reflection of the partisan nature that we have. Joe Biden yesterday in his inaugural address really tried to reach out beyond that. And his theme was unity. And that's why the three former presidents were there. That's why he reached out to Mitch McConnell, saying, hey, we're all in this together. Garth Brooks was there for a reason. He wanted to say, hey, we are all here together. So yesterday was a day that allowed the president to try to craft this narrative that we're Americans first before we're Republican, before we're Democrat.
Before we have to go, what does he have to do to erase that line, to blur that line? What does he have to do in the coming year?
Well, first of all, I think he realizes we're never going to erase that line. Mm-hmm. That line has been here since the days of George Washington. Mm-hmm. Partisanship is always here. What he needs to do, I believe, is he needs to find a way, despite impeachment coming up and all the things that he wants to achieve, he needs to find a way to calm down his progressive wing of the Democrat Party and also reach out and try to get some of the more moderate Republicans to support some of his initiatives. Difficult to do.
By the way, that impeachment, I mean, does that really, puts even more divisiveness, right? I mean,
it certainly does.
Is it necessary?
The House of Representatives has already answered that question. The House of Representatives, by impeaching the president,
yes, they have.
By impeaching the president, they said, we will do impeachment. What they're doing is they're simply delaying sending the impeachment articles over to the Senate. As soon as the Senate gets it, they have to have an impeachment trial. That's what the Constitution says. So the question is, what's that impeachment trial going to look like? The word, as of the time we're filming this, is it's probably going to be a 3-day trial. Because everybody knows what it's about. It's about the January 6th uprising at the Capitol building. And does Trump have a responsibility?
And real quick, what happens if he is convicted? What happens?
If he's convicted, it doesn't mean anything. What's important is the next step. They'll take a vote then to keep him from running for president again.
And that's what really this is all about.
That's what it's really about.
Okay, if he's not convicted?
If he's not convicted, that vote will not take place.
And then he is able to run again in the future if he wants to.
In 2024 if he wants to.
Okay.
Exactly.
Any indication that he will? Who knows, right?
He's leaving things out in the open. We'll see. We don't know. We just don't know.
Okay. Anything else you want to say before they kick us off the air here?
Just one final thing, and that is that President Trump also had hinted at the possibility of starting a new political party. So think about that. The Republican Party has to deal with its own internal divisions, just like the Democratic Party has its own divisions.
And are we thinking maybe like a Tea Party, continuing the Tea? What?
This is Donald Trump, so you don't know quite what that will mean. Other than saying we're going to put America first, make America greatest, what does that new political party mean? We don't know. It's all speculation right now.
Lots to watch. All right, we'll be back on Big Country Politics.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
Okay, we're back with Dr. Paul Fabrizio, political science professor over at McMurray University. Again, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
You wanted to talk about the agenda of our newest president, Joe Biden. Where is he going to take us in the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. When you're elected president, you basically have the first 2 years of your administration to accomplish things. And then after that, opposition builds up. You have an election, a midterm election.
Start campaigning.
You start campaigning, and then people start thinking, who's going to be our next president in 2024? So Joe Biden has this narrow window to get something done. And the question is, what is it that he wants to do? Obviously, the coronavirus is number one on his list, and he's made no secret of that. But what's number two? He talked about this immigration plan, but is that seriously going to happen in a Senate that is divided 50-50? I'm not sure it is. They also are talking about racial justice initiatives. They're talking about infrastructure. What does Joe Biden want to accomplish? And here's the dirty secret that the Democrats are confronting. They never anticipated that they would have control of the House, control of the Senate, and the presidency. You go in back to the days before the election took place, everybody thought they would retain control of the presidency. They were cautiously optimistic about the Senate, but the House they knew, but the Senate they weren't so sure. Now they have total control of the government, and they haven't really laid out what's the next thing after COVID.
Well, and when people see this and the situation they're in, they expect things to get done, right?
Yes,
I mean, because they have control.
Yes.
This is what they've been waiting for.
Yeah, and what Joe Biden is going to be dealing with is the fact that he has such narrow control in the Senate. And not only in the Senate, in the House too. So the progressives in the Democratic Party are not going to get what they want. The power really lies in the people in the center. And you think about Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska. You think about Joe Manchin, the Democratic senator from West Virginia. They become really powerful. And Joe Biden, is he able to reach out to them and get them to support his agenda? If he fails to do that, his agenda is not going to pass.
That's my
whatever his agenda is.
Because we don't know that yet.
We don't know.
Because there's, coronavirus is taking up so much space.
Yes.
But if his agenda does not jive with the far left and the middle, how does that affect the last 2 years of his presidency? Like you said, when he's starting to campaign,
he will be judged a failure. I mean, that's a simple
he
reality.
really does have a narrow window.
He has a narrow window. You look at what presidents accomplish. You think of Obama with Obamacare. Well, that was done in the first 2 years of his presidency. Donald Trump, tax cuts, first 2 years of his presidency. This is the chance that Joe Biden has. He has to come with the State of the Union message and say, this is what I want. He's got to marshal the forces of his party and the moderates on the other side to try to accomplish it.
Well, obviously, the Republicans on the other side know this dynamic.
Oh, of course.
And are going to try to work that, right? I mean,
they're going to try to work it to their advantage as best they can. And so, but the whole thing is, what do the Republicans want? And, you know, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be dealing with impeachment. That has to be taken care of, pushed out of the way. There's going to be ramifications from that impeachment. If Republicans, in fact, vote to convict Donald Trump, there's going to be a lot of Republicans who are going to be mad at those Republicans who did that. So how is that going to affect their ability to work together as a party in opposition to the Democrats? You know, there's so many moving pieces here, and right now no one knows where it's going to go.
So interesting. Lots to watch during the next 2 years, as you said. So we're going to be watching. Dr. Paul Fabrizio is going to be watching. We're going to have him back on the show regularly, and we're going to talk about these things and get your opinion about those things as we watch, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and one of the things makes this thing so exciting is we have no idea what the future holds. We don't know how the pieces are going to fit together, if they're going to fit together. You know, Joe Biden, his real dominant theme is unity. But what does that mean when it comes to governing and legislation?
Right up here, they're wrapping us up right up here. Look how happy you are. All right, thank you, Dr. Paul Fabrizio, for being on the show, and we'll be back on Big Country Politics.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
And that does it for this week's edition of Big Country Politics. Our thanks to Dr. Paul Fabrizio. Remember, for the latest political headlines, always go to bigcountryhomepage.com, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks for watching.